Is that doing something? Hello? Hello, testing. Is that doing something? Okay. Hello. I think we fixed it. Hello, testing. Okay. I think we fixed it. Alright, awesome. Yeah, I don't know, sometimes after a while my microphone kind of just kind of, I don't know how to describe it. What you heard. It'll do that eventually. Anyway, back to crew chat. This is episode 3, I suppose, of this strange live stream thing I'm doing. And I don't really have a plan starting off. Last time we got the configuration manager kind of thing going, so that's working. And I thought maybe we should look at commands. I don't know. Here it is. So here is our possible commands stuff, and then our player data. I don't know if we want to start with making commands or if we should start with kind of coming up with some more framework stuff. Is basically all it does right now is load up some configurations that are basically just placeholders for when we actually add options, and then it gets a logger, or it gets a logger. I'm just literally reading. It's it says that it's, you know, it did something. So we need to kind of figure out what we want this plugin to do. I guess we can start off by kind of figuring out, so when the plugin loads up for the first time, or maybe not for the first time, but whatever time, what does it need to do first? One of the big things with this plugin is going to be the channels. So having different channels for different things and figuring out, you know, what channels does this user want. So we kind of need to take a look at a configuration of channels, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is, on my other screen here, just go back to how we had it set up earlier. Whatever the last time is that I did this, I've forgotten by now, but we're gonna take a look at the Hero Chat channels. So there's actually a separate folder for the channels here, and the way that it does it is you can sort of specify channels. Now I'm going to put that in my configuration. I'd like to have the config have that. So we're gonna change this up a bit, and the way that we do that is by doing config. So we want to change, let's make this crew chat configuration. Sure. And then for now we'll just add a section called channels. And then we kind of have to figure out how a channel works. So there's some things that we can do with channels, such as have a name for the channel, a nickname for the channel, which means that it's like an abbreviation so that you don't have to type the full channel name whenever you want to switch to it. You can change things like the color of the text, the some other random things. Mine's gonna be kind of simple, so I guess the way that we can do it is kind of like sample I guess we should have like an example channel. Or maybe we'll just show off a default one. Whoops. Or maybe we'll call it global. And then within there, nickname G. You can password protect channels, but I want to kind of just have permission-based channel entering and exiting, so I don't care about that. Color for the channels, yeah, I guess color would be useful. Chat color. We'll put white. And then that's really all that I need. I guess permissions can just be based on the channel name. So that means that we'll have a global channel with a nickname G and a chat color white. I guess we could do permissions within here so that if the user wants to set a custom permission, or we could just use the name here. I guess we'll just use the name there. So that's our new configuration. Pretty simple, to be honest. And then from there, what else should we do? Let's look at permissions. So we'll just do channel name dot How do permissions normally work? It would be crew chat dot I guess we can have join or subscribe, unsubscribe, and speak. Subscribe dot channel allows players to join or subscribe to channel, and then we can copy that and do unsubscribe and unsubscribe, and then what is up with that? Move that back. Okay, and then we can do crew chat dot active dot channel, and that would be allows player to set channel as active channel. And then we had crew chat dot speak dot channel, and that would be allows player to speak in channel. Okay, so we got some stuff going. The other thing would be what else do we need to look at? I was thinking about forcing an active channel or forcing subscriptions. How would we do that? You can do like a force subscribe, which would be like or auto subscribe, which would on their join, when they join, if they have that permission, they're forced to subscribe to that channel, or they automatically subscribe to that channel. But I don't want that to happen every time, because if a player decides they don't want to have say the gray list channel in their list of channels, I don't want them to have that issue. But I do need to come up with a permission or something that allows you to, as a new player who has never joined before, gain access to those two channels, the member and the non-member chat, like subscribe to them. I guess we could have in the config auto subscribe true, something like that, so that when a player joins for the first time, they're automatically subscribed to that channel. That way they end up in the... Yeah, I like that. Because otherwise, you know, then it can check for this and then check for a permission. Okay, I like that. So we have the chat listener, whose purpose is to cancel a chat event, but then we need to kind of interpret that and send data to something like a chat handler or something like that that can then do stuff with it. Because I don't want the listener to really become bloated, I guess. I kind of want it to be just a listener so that we can kind of do things based on it. It can call methods from other things. Maybe. Or should we have things happening in here? No, I feel like it should be kind of just done separately. I don't know. How do we want to get started with this? Set canceled to true. That's just sending a message to that player. So what we need to do is send that event elsewhere to say like a chat interpreter. So you have the listener, then we can have an interpreter, and the interpreter's job would be what? To determine who gets to see the chat and whatnot, or maybe we just need to send it to a chat formatter. And then should there be one simple chat formatter, or should there be multiple, and then messaging and stuff like that? Like, we need to figure that out as well. I think we should do a new package called listeners, because it's listeners. And move this into here. And then I also just want to get this done. Join listener. So you have a join listener, and that's going to implement listener. Listener. There we go. And then at event handler, keep referencing this, public void on player join player join events event, and then what do we want to do when the player joins? I'm not sure yet, but we have that set up now. So when the player joins, we need to figure out what channels they are in. By reading a player data file. So player equals event dot get player, and then we need to do I need to figure out how we traverse a UUID list in the player data file, which is in here. So unless we just want to pass the event elsewhere. So with player activity, if we look in the interpreters, as they're called, we can see it kind of just does super, which I am totally not great with. Let's see if I can figure that out. Is that calling the parent class of that? I think. What is on execute? I don't even know what a friggin' interpreter is. Maybe this isn't the best method of determining what's a good way to do things. Let's look at how this one does it. This one does a whole ton of shit in here. Okay. I don't know. So... oops. Let's get the configuration object from here. So let's have a getter method for that. Public config manager. That is really cool. That this system is able to recognize that I'm trying to create a simple getter, and it's able to do that. That's really awesome. So then back in our join listener, I can create a variable here called config manager, right? And then in here I can do config manager equals crew chat dot get instance. Where is this? Why can I not use that? How do I... That's not a separate thing, is it? No, it is not. Oh, yes it is. Okay, so we can do that. Public static crew chat get instance turn instance. Doesn't know what that means. Private static first join plus instance. How does it know what that private static crew chat instance. Yeah. Where does that then get on enable? Instance. What's this? And then in here, instance dot get config manager, like that. So now what we have is a we have our config manager. I am stumbling through this, aren't I? But also very tired. It's only 6:30, but I got up at 5:50 because the air was leaking out of my tire, so I wanted to make sure I had an extra 10 minutes to put more air in the tire. Package access can be package private. Open. Yeah, sure. That's fine. You can do that. What is the issue now? Convert to local? No, dumb thing. Just leave it where it is for now. So we've got our configuration manager. So we can, or maybe we should, let's look at our on enable for a minute, because we should figure out how to load channels. So the channel list should be, I guess we should have a channel object, right? So maybe in here we'll do a new class called channel, or chat channel. No, you can just call it channel. Okay. And within this channel class, we need to define our constructor of what a channel is. So public channel, and what does a channel need when you, or what variables does a channel have? So to figure that out, we can take a look at our configuration. So it has a name, it has a nickname, it has a chat color, and it has an auto subscribe value. So let's add those. So we'd have string name, string nickname, chat color should be read as a chat color. Can we do that? Chat color, and boolean auto subscribe, like that. And then we can do string name, nickname, chat color, boolean auto subscribe, and then this dot name equals name, this dot nickname equals nickname, this dot chat color equals chat color, this dot auto subscribe equals auto subscribe, and that accounts for all of those. And then we need to take a look in the configuration manager for how in the world we do stuff. So the configuration manager, once we load the configuration, it's just the same using a config file. So we need to do config manager dot get config config.yml dot get string. Does that not work? Do we want get file config config.yml dot how plugin.getConfig does what? What does that return? Is plugin get plugin what the hell? This dot get config dot wait get it returns a file configuration, right? So and also why is not result this get logger happy now config name, so we're returning the file config dot options dot get no dot save to string load. Getting a million texts a second here. Okay. So how do I read from it? Just trying to dot set. Oh, where is this coming from? Is this just new? Interesting. But we want not dot set, but dot get string path. And we want to get oh, how do we this is interesting. Okay, so now we don't know how our channels, where is that? That's in config. Channels. And then we can kind of do a tab there. Channels dot I iterate through a section of a configuration file? Because I don't know what the user is going to write in that thing there. Get list. Save config. Okay, so let's see. So that value is blank for channels. We don't have anything there. Right? So how do we get that first thing there? Hang on, before my phone explodes. Okay, so looking for a tutorial. I could have a list of them, so to say, like you could have global dash whatever, and then define each channel below. But let's ask the experts. Okay, well, I've asked the experts. We'll see what they say. Via what? Says light. The experts are collaborating, sort of. So I don't think I want to do it this way. I just want it to know somehow. While we wait for an answer, I'll keep kind of looking. configuration file is organized into key value pairs where all keys are strings. The value for the other keys may be a configuration section or a single piece of data. The getKeys Boolean method returns the set of keys for the current file configuration section. The Boolean value determines if the returned set is recursive. If true, I don't. The configuration API uses paths to form a unique key to value pairs. A path is the set of keys used to associate a value. Each level is separated by the path separator, which is by default the period. For example, the YAML file has the following set of paths. What is get configuration section? Create section, get Boolean list, get string list. But I don't really understand that. Spigot API. Let's take a look. So we're looking at, is there a configuration settings section. So here's all of those. Gets the requested list of string by path. Gets the requested string by path. Gets the equivalent. Get color. Gets the Boolean, gets an object. Okay. There's a method in the configuration section which the config extends called getKeys. Basically, you need to grab the configuration section of the area you want to work through. What this means is you grab the node, I call them nodes, but they're really configuration section that contains all of the key/values you need to iterate through. Then grab a list of the keys and iterate through it. Basically, it will look like this. Let's say that this is my config. By default, the configuration section you're working with is the root/top level configuration section. It contains the entire config. If you do this for string key :config.getKeys false, you would get okay. Okay. Channels dot get keys false. Okay, so that's a really long thing. What is get keys returns a set of type string. Is what we need to do is I should name this set keys, and then keys equals, then for string key keys. That doesn't work. Why not? What happens if I put this in here? How does that work? Okay, well we're gonna do it that way because for some reason that works better. And we'll do that. And then let's just do this dot get logger dot info key. And then what we'll do is go to config and just we'll leave this for now, but what we'll start with is going back to the test server folder and deleting this, and then we'll run it. And what we should get is it should say global. And it did. So now if we go into our plugins here and open up our config, should be able to copy this and do a couple other channels. So let's call this one test 1 and we'll call this one test 2 and we'll save that. And then we'll stop this and we'll start it again, and this time we should get 3 things: global, test 1, and test 2. Okay, so that's working. So now just change those. What the hell? What did I just do? Just wanted to save that. So obviously we don't want to output it. So for loading channels, what we want to do is I feel like we should have this in a separate method, maybe? Nah, we don't need to. So this is all fine. Once we get into here, what we want to do is do Sorry, really thinking here. Smoke's coming out of my head. Stop that, but let's do config manager dot get file config YML. Configuration section channels dot get out of here. What the hell is going on here? There we go. Key. I feel like we're typing this so much. We should do configuration section channels equals config manager dot get file config .yml dot get configuration section channels. And then we should be able to do channels dot get keys like that. And then in here we can do new channel channels dot get configuration section key dot get oh wait, that would just be key. And then key dot get channels dot get configuration section key dot get nickname, whoops, that should be in quotes, like that. I think it's just not happy with me. What is it yelling at? Expression, I don't know. We'll see if this works. Channels dot get configuration section key dot get. What are the other ones? We have get color configuration key dot get boolean auto subscribe. And something's wrong. String. How do you make a chat color? So we have get color. So we have color and chat color. We have so turn it to a string. string into a chat color. There we go. So now I don't have to do unchecked casting. Just gonna send them what I put. Whoa, okay. So for that, that's gonna create a new channel and populate it with all of our various things for, so that would be channel name. Whoops. Nickname. Oh my god. Did I not just do nickname? You know what it is? It's the Corsair K70 RGB Lux, the new version, has, or I don't know if the old version had this too, but the new version's keys have the way that they did it was that the shifted state of the key is lower, and normally I'm used to having it the other way around, so that say I'm trying to type the question mark on the keyboard, usually the question mark is above the slash, not below the slash. So when I go to type a question mark, occasionally I'll look at it and subconsciously not hit shift when I meant to, or the other way around. And it's kind of annoying, and I just still haven't gotten used to it. Perhaps I could order another set of keycaps, but I don't know. Perhaps I might just get a new keyboard. Anyway, so this is the chat color, and this is the auto subscribe, like that. So now we know what each of them does, and what that means is that's going to create objects. Channel equals new channel. And then I also want to do a list of the channels. That way I can cycle through them, I guess, somehow. Whew. Array list channels. Oh, this dot channels dot add channel. So now we'll have all the channel objects. Which we can then iterate through into a thing. So let's make our getters and setters for this. Public void, or let's do public string get name return name public string get nickname public chat color get chat color public boolean public set name. Well, no, we don't need setters. We just need getters for these. And these can be private, and private. Okay. Next thing to do is for let's take a look at this. For string name, and then we need channels referring to that's I'll just do that. There we go. For channel what are you, what is it, how the freak does it want me to do that? Channels is an array list of channels. Does that fix it? Does that fix it? Yeah. see if this works. Channel dot get name. Okay, let's see what it does. It's either going to fail terribly or work just fine. It failed terribly. Okay, name is null. The name is the key. Why are we having issues? It's a null pointer. At the value of chat color. But they're all chat color white. And that's in chat color 13. And that's 42, so it's this line. Oh, you know what? It's chat color, not color. Simple mistake. Let's try it again. See if that fixes our issue. Loaded channels. And then there's nothing. Channel.get. Oh. I guess we would need special formatting so that it doesn't put that at the end of the last one. Or we could just ignore it and not have that. Just do channels loaded. do whoops, I equals 0, and while I is less than, that's greater than, less than channels dot length. It's an array list. You're telling me length isn't a thing? Size. Okay. I plus. Keep it at that. Channels. Oh my god. Channels dot size -1. We're gonna do channels is loaded dot concat channel dot get name plus period, and then else that. But what's interesting is that it didn't give us anything. It just said loaded channels and didn't give us anything, as if there were no channel objects. This dot channels add channels. Get logger dot info channel key plus something like that. Let's see what that does. loaded, and then it gives us... Does the concatenation not work? Dot append. Why does it just channel get name? Let's try that. Come on. Don't break on me now. That is so weird. But it's not. How do I what did it just do? I can't even see what this says because it's so long. This not... That honestly makes no sense. Because key is the name and it's working right here. Which channel is this? That's just... Local local to that. Well, why does it have this? It is a string. Whatever. We're not gonna use it. We'll just have them all on separate lines. That's fine. From there, it's now been an hour and 40 minutes, so I think we're going to just optimize our imports and kind of just go over what we've done, and then we'll call it a day because it's now been quite a while. So, to reiterate everything that we've done, today, just looking at the different classes here, we started loading channels. So whenever our plugin starts up, it's going to read the configuration section for the channels, and for any arbitrary number of channels, it's going to then create new channel objects, notify the console that those channels were added, and then add those channels to an array list that will tell us all of the channels. We also created a channel object, which at this point is pretty basic, and next time I'd like to add some special things to the constructor to prevent unwanted issues, such as if the nickname is the same, if the nickname or the channel name is the same as any other nickname or channel name, we can't have that, so we're going to have to implement some checks to make sure that that doesn't happen. We also added a join listener, which at this point is pretty basic, but that will be used further in our later episodes. And we also adjusted our config.yml to include the channels section. So now our plugin is able to allow the user to create channels. Of course, nothing happens with them so far. And we also added some permissions. Of course, we still have remnants from the skip night copy that I did here, but we have some commands we can probably start to implement. One that we could do right away is a reload command, which would reload configurations after changing them. That's always a useful one when doing troubleshooting. So yeah, as it stands right now, our plugin still doesn't do very much, but I'm still stumbling through everything, trying to get this plugin working in a way that is adequate for my server, and as somebody who just has never made any sort of plugin like this before, it's a whole new experience. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys are enjoying, I don't know, me sitting here staring at the computer for hours on end. But hopefully you're learning something, and until next time, see you later. Thanks for watching.